Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Am I audible clearly?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So yesterday we discussed about discovery of electron and the property of cathode rays. Okay. Now, further two experiments are carried out about electron to calculate charge of electron and E by M ratio of electron. See experiment. J.J. Thomson, he carried out experiment to calculate ratio of E by M. Don't write, first listen. I think he had not given any big experiment, only how to carry out the experiment is only given, not given any calculation, just see the experiment. Okay, to calculate charge by mass ratio, J.J. Thomson carried out this experiment. The vacuum now. This is cathode. This is anode. Perforated anode. Anode having a hole. So from here, a cathode ray is produced. Here, this is a screen coated with zinc sulfide. So here, zinc sulfide acts as fluorescent material or phosphorescent material. Here, the difference between fluorescence and phosphorescence is the only timing. Fluorescent material immediately stops glowing. Phosphorescent material, it is somewhat long lived. I think you know radium ball. So guys, do you know radium ball? When radium sticks.
Sir.
No, sir.
Hello?
Yeah.
No,
Am
sir.
I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Radium sticks, you have an idea, no? Even in dark also it glows, right?
Yes, sir.
That type of material only quoted here. But phosphorescence material means if suppose the light source is stopped, this phosphorescence also stops. But sorry, fluorescence also stops. Suppose phosphorescence, it is somewhat long lived. Even light source is off, it glows for some time. That is phosphorescence. Okay. Now, to this cathode rays applying electric field, even magnetic field also applying, both are perpendicular to each other. This is electric field.
Sir, no need to write this, right?
No need to just listen. This
No,
experiment
no.
not mandatory. Just listen how it calculated E by M ratio. You need to note down only the value, E by M ratio value. And your magnetic field also. You know, cathode rays carry negative charge. By applying electric field, this is deflected toward positive plate side. So this give A, this is B. Suppose by applying only magnetic field, this is deflected towards point C. So the calculation of E by M ratio of an electron, it is mainly depend on the principle of deflection of cathode ray. Mainly depending upon deflection of cathode rays. This deflection of cathode rays is further depends upon charge of electron, mass of electron, and magnetic field strength and electric field strength. Depends upon mass of electron, mass of particle, charge of electron, magnetic field, electric field, electric field strength. Okay. Suppose the electric field and magnetic both are not applied. This cathode ray strikes on screen at point B. And we didn't apply electric field and magnetic field. Okay, that is point B. When we apply only electric field, this completely cathode rays are deflected towards point A. Means deflected towards positive plate side and strikes at point A. Now, no magnetic field, no electric field, only magnetic field is applied. The cathode ray is deflected towards point C. So by balancing this electric field strength and magnetic field strength, again we are bringing this cathode ray position to B point. So we are applying both. By applying both and changing their magnetic field strength, electric field and magnetic field, finally we are balancing both electric field and magnetic field, and we bring back the position of cathode ray at B point. Then we are substituting those all values in E by M ratio gives E by H square R formula. We can get E by M ratio. E is electric field strength, H square is H is magnetic field strength, and R is radius of the cathode rays when it is when it is deflected towards magnetic field strength. So it forms one curve S like this. This is actually giving up to here only curve. Further we are extending. So we are taking one circular path and taking this radius. That radius value we are substituting there. So we can get E by M ratio value. So by this experiment, J. Thomson calculated E by M ratio of electron 1.76 into 10 power 8 coulomb per gram. This is the E by M ratio of electron. Okay, this is experiment. I think not mandatory. Just note down only 2 points about E by M ratio. One more point, forgot to say about this. J. Thomson taken different type of discharge tube by maintaining different electrodes, not only one type of metal. He taken different type of metal electrodes and gas also. The gas present in the discharge tube also, he taken different gas. But however, he got the same E by M ratio value. So irrespective of electrodes and nature of gas, the E by M value is coming 1.76 into 10 power 8. So this means the electron is a universal particle. It won't depend upon nature of gas, nature of electrodes. All materials must contain electrons. Okay, so note about this. Right, this is determination of the charge ratio of charge by mass of electron. sound every time. The ratio of okay. Next, for determination of the charge on the electron. Okay. Completed this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, charge of electron. Here, scientist R.M. Millikan carried out his oil drop experiment. So with his experiment, he calculated charge of electron. Charge of electron is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. So one thing here, the oil drop experiment, we are going to be studied detailed about this in 12th standard physics. Chapter is modern physics. So in this chapter, you need to learn completely how this process is carried out, oil drop experiment, and how to calculation of charge. The experiment I can explain, but the calculations and all given in physics, because there we need to consider many physical quantities. Simply listen how to carry out this experiment.
Sir, should we write that?
No need this also. Just listen how to carried out this experiment. Here one instrument atomizer is using. We were maintaining two plates. One is anode plate, one is cathode plate. Here. Right. So I will draw only line, no confusion. We're having hole, keeping a telescope. These both plates are connected to external current, external voltage. The negative plate, this positive plate. Yes. So with the help of atomizer, we are making the oil into small drop particles, small droplets. The droplets are allowed to fall into this hole. So now particles are coming here. Small particles. And here some gas also present in this anode and cathode plates. We are passing X-rays also. Okay. Here, because of gravity, generally the oil particles comes down because of gravity. But here, because of passing X-rays, this X-rays ionizes the gases. Some gases are present between these both electrodes. That gas becomes ionized. When gas ionizes, it produces some electrons, right? Electrons are produced from gaseous substance. When X-rays bombarded with gaseous molecules, that gaseous molecule, suppose if you take hydrogen gas, hydrogen having one electron, it loses that one electron. Take any gas, even nitrogen or oxygen, those gases loses either one or two electrons. Those electrons are absorbed by the oil particles. Oil particles absorb this electron. Now oil particle behaves like electron because that oil particle absorbs some electron. Now it behaves like a negatively charged species. Now here external voltage is applied. Now the oil particle is moving towards positive plate side or negative plate side. This is a negative plate, down one. Upper one is positive plate.
Positive.
Particle is moving towards positive plate side. But however, here gravity is there. Because of gravity, it should have to come down. However, by varying here potential difference between the electrodes, we are keeping the position of particle, means we are calling stationary. We are maintaining position of a particle stationary position. Means it is not coming down, not even moving upside. So this side attraction is there because it is a positive plate. Downside gravity is there. So by suitably balancing this external voltage, we can maintain stationary position of particle. Now, how much voltage is applied between these plates, that value, and how much gravity is working on this particle. Also, this is oil particle, it having some viscosity, that viscosity also calculating, and finally by substituting these all values, we are calculating charge of an electron. This is only experimental setup, and the process how carry out this experiment, but the calculation and all have big formulas. We need to substitute many values. That mostly comes in after modern physics. The physics faculty will discuss about this. So here charge of electron is this much, 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb.
Sir, I didn't understand very well.
Okay, this experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah, just listen here. Here, this is the atomizer. Here we are taking some oil. With the help of atomizer, this oil, we can produce some oil droplets, very fine oil droplets we can produce. These droplets are allowed to fall into the gap between two plates. This is a positive plate, this one. This is positive plate. This is negative plate. This is the anode, this is cathode. So droplets are allowed between these electrodes. These both are connected to external voltage. Generally, oil particle comes down because of gravity. Yes, oil particle should come down. But however, by suitably maintaining the voltage, we can keep this oil particle between the electrodes only. That with the help of X-rays, we are ionize the gas. Some gas particles are present between the electrodes. That gas molecules loses electron. That electrons are absorbed by oil particle. Now oil particle also behaves like negatively charged particle. Is this okay, ma? Oil particle behaves like negatively charged particle because of passing X-rays into this gas, the gas becomes ionized. Means gas molecules loses some electrons. That electrons are adsorbed, not absorbed. Adsorbed. Means some electrons on the surface of this oil droplet present. Electrons are adsorbed by this oil particle. Now oil particle behaves like a negatively charged particle because oil drop having some electrons. So it is attracted by positive plates. But however, here gravity is there. Because of gravity, it should have to come down. Because of positively charged plate, it should have to move upside. Yes or no?
Yes.
Because of gravity, it should have to come down. But it's having negative charge. It must have to attract towards positive plates. So finally, we are managing this voltage between the electrodes. We can keep position of electron in between plates only. That is not coming down, even not attracted towards positive plates. So at that position, we are noting how much voltage difference we are applied between the electrodes and mass, mainly the mass of oil particle we are calculating with the help of microscope. Sorry, we are telescope. With the help of telescope, we are finding how much size of oil particle and how much mass is calculating, and also how much gravity is working on this oil drop. Plus, oils are viscous liquids. So what is the viscosity of that oil also we are finding. By substituting these all values in suitable formula, we can get charge of electron is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. So just we are balancing force only here. Gravitational force is balanced by external voltage. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now see how to calculate the mass of electron. There is no experiment to calculate mass of electron directly. Mass of electron is equal to E by M. Correct? In E by M formula, E cancel. Finally, M is only coming here. What is the charge of electron? 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. E by M ratio? How much? E by M ratio?
1.67.
1.76 into 10 power 8.
Minus 8
How much?
gram.
How much this value? 1.6 divided by 1.76. And 10 power minus 19, 10 power 8.
Sir, in the textbooks, they have given 1.76 into 10 to the power of 11.
That's given in kilograms, right? Here I am giving in grams, coulombs per gram this value. In textbook, they are given in coulombs per kilogram. That's what here coming, 10 power 11. So finally, here value comes mass of electron 9.1 into 10 power minus 28 grams. I think textbook they are given mass of electron 9.11 we take or 1, no problem. Into 10 power minus 31 is giving in textbook. That is kilogram. 9.11 into 10 power minus 31 kilograms.
Sir, you gave the constant as 1.67 into 10 to the power 8, sir.
1.67
67.
E by M ratio.
Yes, sir.
1.76. 1.76 into 10 power 8. If there is a small correction, you do 1.76.
Okay, sir.
So we should consider kg or kilogram. I
You
mean,
try to in both
gram
the
or
values, no problem.
kilogram.
Take in both the values. You don't just do only one time this E by M ratio, but here value write in both units. This is in gram or 9.11 into 10 power minus 31 kilogram. So.
So what's after RA Millikan? So
So what's the last line? Sir.
hello, sir.
Excuse me, sir, we cannot hear you.
Sir,
I'll call him. Wait.
Yeah, he can't hear us.
Sir,
Hello, am I audible?
Sir, now you are.
Yes, sir. So what's the last line?
This one?
Yes, sir.
Oil drop experiment. Oil
Yes, sir.
drop experiment.
What's after RA Millikan?
RA Millikan with oil drop experiment.
Okay, sir.
Not 1 point, just like E by M ratio of electron, independent of nature of electrodes and nature of gas used in discharge tube. If you want note 1.6 into 10 power
So
minus
that's E
19
by
coulomb.
M ratio, right?
Yeah, E by M ratio. 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb is smallest measurable charge. Mass of electron is mass of electron 9.11 into 10 power minus 28 grams. is nearly 1 by 1837. Of that,
So
mass
what's
of
of the
hydrogen.
measurable charge?
1 point. This is only smallest measurable charge.
Okay.
Here, but 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs is smallest measurable charge. Mass of electron 9.11 into 10 power minus 28 grams is nearly 1 by 18th of that mass of hydrogen atom. This is E by M ratio. Next one, origin of cathode rays. Origin of cathode rays. From where cathode rays are produced?
From the cathode.
From the cathode. See, in the discharge tube, cathode rays are first produced from the metal plates. We are taking right metal plates. Cathode rays are produced from first from the cathode, and here we are taking some gas also. When these cathode particles, means cathode rays, bombard with the gaseous molecule, suppose you take oxygen gas maybe loses 1 electron or 2 electrons. Even hydrogen, it also loses 1 electron. You take any gas, it loses 1 or more than 1 electron. Those electrons also constitute cathode rays. So the first origin is metal plate cathode, and further this cathode rays bombarded with the gaseous molecules, some electrons are knocked out from the atom. Those electrons also constitute cathode. Next, one more point. Electron
Sir, could you repeat the first point?
Okay, listen here. The first cathode rays are produced from metal plates because electrons are produced from cathode. Those electrons constitute cathode rays. The electrons which are produced from cathode, those constitute cathode rays. These cathode rays bombard with the atom. We are taking a gaseous substance. When cathode rays bombarded with means colliding. When colliding with gas molecule or gaseous atom, those atoms loses electrons. Maybe 1 or more than 1 electron it loses. Those electrons also constitute cathode rays. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Sir, so this would be a highly exothermic reaction, right?
Yeah. Once electron is coming, oh, no, to take out electron, it is the endothermic process, not exothermic. Endothermic. Okay, next is, why do we consider electron is a universal particle? First point we see E by M ratio of electron is independent of nature of electrode and nature of gas we used in discharge tube. So whatever the gas you take in discharge tube, whatever take electrode, but cathode rays are constructed that cathode rays E by M ratio is a constant value. E by M ratio is constant and charge that is carried by a particle also constant. So cathode rays are not only produced by discharge tube. If we take sodium or potassium metals, even these metals are exposed to sunlight, I mean UV rays, UV region. These metals also loses electrons. Those electrons also construct cathode rays. Or by heating the filament at high temperature, filament also releases cathode rays. So those cathode rays also E by M ratio is coming constant, and charge carried by the particle also constant. So this refers the particles which are constituting the cathode rays, nothing but electrons, are universal particles. So all materials must contain electrons. Got it? Any doubts?
Sir,
Tell me.
sir, is mass of electron a
Mass
exact
of-
value or is it a round of value, sir?
See, the mass of electron we took 9.11 into 10 power minus 28 is the rest mass of the electron. Means when electron is not moving anywhere, so the mass of electron is this 9.11 into 10 power minus 28 grams. Suppose when the electron is in motion, this is not correct value. Mass of the electron changes. That's not possible to calculate also. So we calculated now the mass of electron, that is the rest mass of electron. When electron is not moving anywhere, that mass is this 9.11 into 10 power minus 28. When the electron is in motion, we have to apply some other formulas. You know, Einstein relativity theory. Einstein relativity theory. According to that theory, we have to calculate mass of electron. We have other formulas. M is equal to m naught by root of 1 minus v square by c square. We have to apply this formula. So this is moving particle mass. Because here, when electron is moving with a light speed, here mass will come to infinity value. That's what we are not calculating, moving particle and moving electron mass. So this is the rest mass of electron. The point is useful sometimes in competitive levels asking. This mass is the rest mass of electron. Okay, right. Origin of cathode rays. Cathode rays first produced from the material of the cathode. Material of the cathode. And then from the gas inside the discharge tube. The discharge tube. Due to bombardment of gas molecules with cathode rays produced from metal cathode. Metallic cathode, better to write. Metallic cathode. Lastly, cathode rays are considered as universal particles. Electron. Let's completed this point. So this is about electron and cathode rays. Next, discovery of proton and study of anode rays. You're also taking discharge tube experiment only.
Do we draw it, sir?
Yeah, I'll draw this experiment to select. So now we are taking perforated cathode, not anode, perforated cathode. Cathode having small hole.
We should draw it.
Yeah. Cathode. Anode.
So what metals are used for cathode and anode generally?
We may use any metal, magnesium or aluminum, copper. We may use, better to use sodium and potassium. Those are easily produces cathode rays. Any metal, no problem, any metal we may use. So here connected to vacuum form.
Sir, in cathode and anode, the same kind of metal is used or
Yeah, we
different?
can use same kind of metal also.
Okay.
Is that zinc sulfide coating near cathode?
Yeah, yes. Behind of cathode, zinc sulfide coating is there. It is acting as phosphorescent material.
Okay.
So here itself noted, this is a perforated cathode. Perforated cathode. Okay, completed diagram?
Yes, sir.
Okay, listen now. This experiment is carried out by the scientist Goldstein in 1886. Goldstein carried out this experiment. One thing, you already know atom is neutral, right? Atom is neutral. Suppose you select one atom, lithium. Number of electrons you have 3. Number of protons also 3. So overall it is a neutral. So any atom is neutral. But when atom loses electron or gain electron, then only it will become a ion. It may be attracted by anode or cathode. Okay. So for our convenience, I am taking here hydrogen gas at low pressure mainly. Hydrogen gas is taking inside the discharge tube at low pressure. Okay. Now, both the electrodes are connected to high voltage. You know, from the cathode, electrons are released. Those construct cathode rays. Fine. This cathode rays, when strikes the hydrogen H2 molecule, first of all, breaking takes place. Bond become breaks, and it gives hydrogen atom. Hydrogen atoms are there. Each hydrogen atom having 1 electron. Now, this cathode rays, when bombarded with the hydrogen atom loses electron. This electron also lost. Only left is nucleus. So that electron also constituting another cathode ray, and here only left is nucleus. So after losing electron, hydrogen atom, what is left? Only nucleus is left. What is the charge of nucleus? Charge of nucleus, positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive, right? So cathode rays moving from cathode to anode. Even the electrons which are loosed by hydrogen atom, those also constituting cathode rays, those also moving from cathode to anode. Then here proton is left. Nucleus. Nucleus having positive charge. So that positively charged particles are moving from anode to cathode. Correct? Cathode rays which are produced from metal plates and the electron which are loosed by hydrogen atom, those all constituting cathode rays. Cathode rays are moving from cathode to anode. But the nucleus, after losing electron hydrogen atom, nucleus is left. Nucleus having positively charged, that is positively charged particles. Those are moving from anode to cathode. These rays only are called anode rays. And these rays are passing through holes of cathode. That's what also called canal rays. Anode rays also called canal rays. Okay. Is it clear, ma, how anode rays are produced? Any doubt?
So it's the hydrogen atom itself that's lost electron that becomes the canal.
Yeah, become to positive. Suppose, okay, you are not taking hydrogen gas, you are taking oxygen gas. Better convenience, you take fluorine gas. I think fluorine won't lose its electron easily. However, you are taking fluorine gas. First of all, fluorine atoms are formed. Now, cathode rays strike this fluorine atom. Fluorine maybe loses 1 electron or maximum 2 electrons is lost. So still there is a nucleus. Nucleus does not change it. Still it having 7 electrons also. But it lost 2 electrons now. It forms positive charge. So now it is a positively charged species. So this species moving from anode to cathode side. Those only construct anode rays. So here anode rays that depends upon nature of gas. Cathode rays won't depend, but anode rays depends upon nature of gas. That's what we are taking a particular gas only we have to take in discharge tube. But for our convenience, I am taking hydrogen gas. Fine? Any doubts? How constructed cathode anode rays? Left over the electron, gaseous atom constructs cathode rays. One more point. Cathode rays moves very slowly. I mean, compared to cathode rays are moving slowly. And velocity of anode rays is lesser than cathode rays.
Why, sir?
Because the cathode rays not having mass, very less mass, but anode rays having no mass. See, fluorine atom loses 1 or 2 electrons, but still there are 7 electrons along with nucleus. Mass of an atom is depends upon nucleus. So here nucleus is there. This after losing 2 electrons, fluorine 2 plus. It won't form fluorine 2 plus. You take better to oxygen 2 plus. Oxygen 2 plus. It having core nucleus is there and 6 electrons also there. Those all combined we are calling a positive particle. This particle only constructs anode ray. The mass of these particles are very high, much higher than electron mass. Electron mass is negligible, but here the particle having a large mass. That's what velocity of positive rays is lesser than cathode rays.
Sir, sir, will there be any problem if an radioactive element's gas is taken inside the discharge tube?
No, if you take radioactive element, no need to take in discharge tube. Itself it releases cathode rays, anode rays, and gamma rays. If the element is a radioactive element, not mandatory to take a discharge tube, and this much voltage is not mandatory. Just if we keep that radioactive element any place, anywhere, it releases cathode rays and anode rays. Those materials only we are calling radioactive elements. Okay. While discovery of neutron, I will explain you about the radioactive element.
Okay, sir.
So here anode rays are produced from particles. So somewhat here higher massive particle. That's what their velocity is lower than cathode rays. Now the E by M ratio. E by M ratio of anode rays is always not equal. It depends upon nature of gas. If you take different gas, the E by M ratio also coming different value. But one thing is charge which is carried by anode rays. Of course, it is not same. It is not equal to charge of electron, but that is a simple multiple of charge of electron. Suppose charge of electron is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. Here I am taking hydrogen. First I am taking oxygen gas. Oxygen lost, suppose oxygen lost 2 electrons. So how much charge it carries? Oxygen lost 2 electrons.
+2.
+2 charge it carries. So that is a simple multiple of charge of electron only, but not equal to charge of single electron. Single electron charge is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. The particles which are constructing anode rays carries positive charge. That charge may not be equal to charge of electron, but that is simple multiple of charge of electron. That is 2 into 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. That means oxygen carrying charge is this much. Suppose instead of oxygen, if you take hydrogen gas, then mass of particle which constructing anode rays carried is equal to the mass of electron. Because hydrogen, how many electrons it loses? Hydrogen loses only 1 electron. It having only 1 electron, it loses that 1 electron. So it gets H plus, only 1 unit positive charge. Only 1 unit positive charge. So charge of H plus is equal to 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs only. So for calculation of E by M ratio, for our convenience, we are taking the hydrogen gas. Then here E by M ratio value is 9.58 into 10 power 4 coulombs per gram. This is the value for hydrogen gas. If you take here different gas, E by M ratio changes. See why it changes? Charge changes, no doubt. Charge of hydrogen, we know only 1 unit. Means this much charge only. And hydrogen maintains some mass. That's what it is giving 9.58 into 10 power minus 4. Suppose you take oxygen. It is losing 2 electrons. Suppose it loses 2 electrons. There is chance to lose more than 2 electrons also. So here 2 value we are taking. Mass, oxygen mass is 16 units. So conformly, E by M ratio value changes. That's what for anode rays, E by M value is not a constant. It changes with the change of gas which is present in discharge tube. Next, about charge. This is the E by M ratio for hydrogen. Charge is equal to same one.
So could you explain once more?
It's about E by M ratio.
Yeah.
See, E by M ratio means it depends upon charge and mass of a particle. Charge and mass of a particle. So here we are, suppose if you take cathode rays, I'm talking about cathode rays. Here cathode rays are constructed by electron. Mind it is constructed by electron. That's what electron, wherever you collect the electron, you collect from oxygen gas or hydrogen gas or from any material you collect electron, that mass is constant, charge also constant. Okay, wherever you collect the electron is same. Oxygen atom also having same electron, hydrogen atom also having same electron. Okay. But if you come into anode rays are constructed by somewhat massive particles. Those are depends upon nature of gas. Suppose if you take hydrogen gas, here anode rays are constructed by only nucleus. That is we are calling proton. If you take hydrogen, suppose if you take helium, it loses 2 electrons. Then left is 2 protons are left, 2 neutrons also left. Yes? So its mass is different now. Mass of helium particle is different. And charge also different. Here helium lost 2 electrons. Here charge is coming 2 plus. So charge changes, mass changes. That's what E by M ratio also changes. One thing, cathode rays are constructed by electron. Then anode rays are constructed by what?
Protons.
No, don't confuse here. Anode rays are not constructed by proton. Here only we are doing mistake. If you take hydrogen gas, then only proton. If the gas inside the discharge tube is hydrogen gas, then proton is fine. If you take
Sir,
other
it's
gases,
proton,
then it's not a
neutrons and
proton.
electrons, no, sir?
What?
Sir, it is proton, neutron and electrons, no, sir?
Yes, combined is present. That's what we are saying, simply a positive particle. A positive particle, that is not simply proton. If you take only hydrogen, then okay, the anode rays are constructed by protons, you can say. But if you take helium or any other gases, that is constructed by, because of nucleus. Nucleus having protons, neutrons, and even surrounding others, some core electrons also present. That's why I'm saying here E by M ratio depends upon nature of gas.
Sir, so
Here anode rays are not constructed by proton.
So here E by M ratio is not constant.
Not constant. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
For anode rays, E by M ratio is not constant. For our convenience only, I'm taking hydrogen gas. For hydrogen gas, E by M ratio is 9.58 into 10 power 4 coulombs per gram.
Sir, so I have a doubt. The way cathode rays are, they attract towards the anode. Where will the anode rays be attracted to?
So obviously cathode. When
but,
you tell me.
But it's not. How is it like? Is it more positive?
Yeah, suppose even particle, one atom loses 1 electron, it will become a positively charged species. That's what it is attracted towards cathode side.
But sir, it has protons, neutrons, and electrons also, right?
So electrons also, but which are more number?
Oh, so protons are more in number.
More number. That's what it carries. Suppose helium is there, it lost 2 electrons. Helium 2 plus, it is attracted towards the negative plate. Because of this charge, it is attracted towards negative plate.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So finally, here E by M ratio is depends upon nature of gas. And suppose if you take other gases other than hydrogen gas, if you take the E by M ratio is coming multiple of this 9.58 into 10 power minus 4 coulomb. Okay. Now charge of electron I gave, this charge of electron is same one, but it having a positive charge 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. Now calculate mass of proton. Mass of proton M is equal E by M. Sorry. 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 divided by 9.58 into 10 power 4. So its value is 1.67
into 10 to the power 10 to the power minus 24.
Yeah.
Grams, sir.
Yes, minus 24 grams. This is the mass of proton, nothing but mass of hydrogen only. See, hydrogen having one proton, one electron. The electron mass is negligible. So we are considering only proton mass. So this is the proton mass, 1.67 into 10 power minus 24 grams. This is only mass of hydrogen also. Next, suppose if you take other gas, not hydrogen, you take oxygen or nitrogen, helium, any gas you take, the mass of that gaseous particle which are constructing anode rays, simple multiple of this value, 1.67 into 10 power minus 24 grams. See, what is the mass of helium? Mass of helium, atomic mass?
4.
4 units. So if you go through this method, suppose here you are taking helium gas, you wanted to calculate mass of particles which are constituting anode rays, 4 into this value, 1.67 into 10 power minus 24. Gives mass of particles which are constituting anode rays. So if you take gas other than hydrogen gas, those particles mass which are constituting anode rays, simple multiple of 1.67 into 10 power minus 24 grams. So from this data.
So the E by M ratio will be given, or we have to find every time, like for different gases?
Why we need to find? No need to find for any gases. For only hydrogen, if you know, that's enough. Because if you take other gases, suppose I am telling one example, you are taking nitrogen gas. Are you sure? If nitrogen loses only 1 electron or 2 electron, 3 electrons? Maybe one nitrogen atom loses 1 electron, another nitrogen atom loses 2 electrons. So when it is in discharge tube, well, we are not sure how many electrons it loses. That's what we are taking for only hydrogen. For other gases, instead of hydrogen, taking other gases and trying to calculate their mass value. Here mass value we are calculating by same method, but that value is simple multiple of this. Means 1 into that value, 1 into that value hydrogen mass, 2 into that value, no, 2 into that value won't come, 4 into 1.67 into 10 power minus 24 grams give mass of helium.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Tell me.
Sir, you said that for helium mass is 4, no sir? So
yeah,
it's the mass of proton as well as neutron.
Mass
so,
of?
So is mass of proton equal to mass of neutron?
Yes, correct. You are correct. Mass of proton is equal to mass of neutron. Correct. But here one thing, listen. Here one drawback is there. Means actually what they find, mass of helium gas is coming 4. They concluded helium having 4 protons until they didn't discover neutron. This experiment is carried out in 1886. This experiment carried out in 1886. So they concluded hydrogen having only 1 proton, that mass is this much, 1.67 into 10 power minus 27 grams. Just we consider it is equal to 1 unit. We are taking it is 1 unit. Suppose if they take another gas, suppose helium they took, that is coming 4 units. And if you take oxygen, that's giving 16 units. That time the scientists also started oxygen having 16 protons, helium having 4 protons, because they don't know it nucleus having neutron also, because neutron is discovered in 1936, 32. No.
Sir, it's 1932.
Yeah, 1932.
Sir.
1932. Neutron is discovered in 1932. So until the scientists are treated, helium having 4 protons, oxygen having 16 protons. Okay. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
So here you must have to mind few points. First point is for competitive purpose. I am telling in examination purpose, only coming small values, only directly asking what is E by M ratio of proton, what is charge of proton. So small 1 line or 2 line answers only asking about anode rays. See, here anode rays are not constructed by protons. Mind it, that's first point. anode rays are not constructed by proton. If you take hydrogen gas, then only anode rays are constructed by proton. Otherwise, a positively charged species. Those species must having mass more than electron or even more than hydrogen atom also. And this particle velocity is, anode rays velocity is lower than the velocity of cathode rays, because cathode rays constructed by very small particles and negligible mass particle, nothing but electron. But these are constructed by highly massive species. That's what this velocity is very less. Next, very important point, E by M ratio of anode rays is not constant. It varies and it changes with change of gas which is present in discharge tube. So if you take hydrogen gas, the E by M ratio is 9.58 into 10 power 14 coulombs per gram. And the charge which is carried by hydrogen atom is plus charge it carries. So 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. So this is equal to charge of electron only. That means proton means hydrogen atom carries only 1 unit of positive charge. Next.
Sir, you told like the anode for hydrogen gas, the anode consists only of protons.
Yes.
So does that mean it does not consist of neutrons?
No, it won't have a neutron also. It won't, hydrogen atom not having neutron, only it having proton. One proton,
Okay.
one electron only.
Okay.
Yes. Now, further the calculated mass of proton is giving 1.67 into 10 power minus 24 grams. So further, two more points about this. Suppose you are taking any gas, different gases. No doubt it gives different E by M ratio value. However, the charge which is carried by the particle, means the particles which are constructing anode rays, that is simple multiple of 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. See, their atom may loses 2 electrons. That means 2 into this number. Suppose atom loses 3 electrons, 3 into this number. However, those particles carrying charge is simple multiple of whole number of 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs only. So that is 1 into that value, 2 into that, and 3 into this value. And then the mass of particles which are constituting the cathode rays is simple multiple of whole number ratio of 1.67 into 10 power minus 24 grams. That means all the atoms must contain protons. So also proton also we have to consider as a fundamental particle. So this is about anode rays. Okay, write notebook. Goldstein in 1886 performed discharge tube experiment. Discharge tube experiment. In which he took perforated cathode the gas at low temperature, at low pressure, kept inside the discharge tube.
Sir, is the penetrating effect of electron more than the proton?
Yes. Penetrating effect is more Yes, electron only having higher, it can penetrate easily.
Okay.
So on passing high voltage between electrodes, it was found that some rays were coming from side of anode passing through the poles of cathode produced green fluorescence.
So, how does electron have more penetrating effect? The protons are closer to the nucleus, right?
Proton have? Tell me.
You said that electrons have more penetrating effect, but the
That depends
protons
upon
are closer.
kinetic energy, which are moving very fastly, those having more penetrating effect.
Okay.
These rays were called.
So what's after fluorescent behind?
That's one behind. So here, are you asking this? These rays were called anode rays or canal rays. These rays were called anode rays or canal rays.
Sir, sir, can the canal rays pass through and thin foil?
No, here canal rays are passed through. We are talking about what? We are talking about penetrating effects.
Penetrating through the foil, not.
Yes, yes, they can penetrate through foil. Even anode rays, cathode rays, both can penetrate through foil. But here we are in this experiment, we are taking no perforated cathode. Perforated cathode we are taking. Now the cathode having a hole. So anode rays can pass through the holes of cathode and strike the glass wall, which is coated with fluorescent material. So here in this part, we are observing some green color.
Yes, sir. Sir,
sir,
I have something to say, sir. Sir, if the cathode rays and anode rays penetrate through foil, sir.
Yes.
So if I keep in discharge tube number of foils, then some electrons or some positively charged particles will get deflected, and finally a probability is there that a single electron will be left and a single proton will be left from hydrogen ion, sir.
You are saying, wait, cathode rays are produced from a cathode. So these
Yes,
are
sir.
cathode rays. At the same time, anode rays also produced. You are telling this cathode rays and anode rays both are colliding?
Yes, sir.
Yes, happens. Why not happens? It happens.
So
What happens?
what will happen then?
Then they become neutral. They
Yes.
become neutral. But here we are continuously supplying no high external voltage. Here continuously we are supplying external voltage.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what there is a more chance to produce anode rays and cathode rays instead of neutralizing. There is a more chance to produce anode rays and cathode rays both. Equal
Sir,
preference you have.
Sir, no, sir. Like if I keep foils continuously and finally I have a probability to isolate a single electron, no, sir.
What single electron? Here we are taking metal plate, right?
No, sir. Once the cathode rays bypass the anode, that time if I keep foil, then some electrons get deflected and some pass through, no, sir.
Where we have to keep foil? Here.
Sir, in
between.
Between,
yes,
right? Between.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Behind the perforated anode, sir.
Okay, behind the perforated anode. Okay, fine. Here we are keeping foil. Fine.
Then some electrons will only come out of the foil, no, sir, instead of all.
Yes, come.
Yes, sir. Then on the other side, if I produce anode rays, then there some positive particles will be left out, no, sir.
Some positive particles just left out.
No, sir. In another discharge tube where anode rays is adjacent to this one, sir.
So you are taking, we need to take 2 discharge tubes or 1 discharge tube?
2, sir.
2 discharge tubes, okay, we are taking. So 1 discharge tube is producing cathode rays, another discharge tube is producing anode rays. Are you talking?
Yes, sir. So then if we continuously put foils, then finally less number of electrons will be left out and less number of positive particles will be left out. No, sir.
More number of negative cathode rays are produced. Cathode rays are produced more because metal plate also produces cathode rays, right?
Yes, sir.
And you are saying 2 discharge tubes. So from another discharge tube also cathode rays produces?
No, sir. Anode rays.
Okay, from anode rays you are taking only, okay, from 1 discharge tube you are collecting only anode rays. From 1 discharge tube you are collecting only cathode rays, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Both are passed through one place. So it will become neutral, right?
Yes, sir. That's my idea.
Okay, okay. If you pass both are in the neutral place, then nothing is there. Only you are passing here cathode rays and here you are passing anode rays, right?
Yes, sir. But opposite to each other, sir.
Okay, opposite is okay. We are saying from this side cathode rays, from this side anode rays. So what happens,
Yes,
you are
sir.
asking? So
Yes, sir.
here suppose in this place if there is no any force, I mean we are not applying any energy in this place, this cathode
Yes,
rays
sir.
means electrons. Anode rays means some charged species, suppose H plus or O2 minus, O plus 2, some charged species are there. So
Yes,
those
sir.
absorb this electron, there is a chance to become neutral species.
Sir, instead, if I take H plus, that is a single proton will be left out in a H plus ion.
Yeah.
So if I take only a proton and an electron, then what will happen, sir?
Hydrogen is formed.
Then they won't collide each other and form any other thing.
No, it won't collide and won't form any other thing. No, you don't think that. Here we have proton, 1 proton and 1 electron, they combine forms hydrogen atom.
Sir, because like charges attract each other, no, sir, and moreover they are having velocity, no, sir.
So you are saying so 2 protons are combined and it forms helium. So that is bombardment process.
What is it?
Okay, you are saying correctly. You mean it produces any new element, right?
No, sir. I am saying like it may produce neutron, no, sir, because.
No. Okay, you are thinking about neutron. Neutron is that is a different charge, different particle completely.
Okay, sir.
Oh, no. Neutrons you can't create. So particles, either electron, proton, neutron, we can't create. Those are naturally existed species.
Okay, sir.
And of course, we have some other pi meson, boson, some particles are there. So with the help of those particles, we can construct some massive particle like proton and neutron. But with the help of electron, proton, and neutron, we can't create the same particles again.
Okay, sir.
Right, next point. Origin of anode rays. Origin of anode rays. These rays are believed to be produced as a result of the knockout of the electrons from the gaseous atom by the bombardment of high-speed electrons of the cathode rays
So I have a doubt. So when there's a perforated cathode, so then both canal rays and cathode rays are formed.
both we can observe.
So then in the other experiment where there was a perforated anode, could canal rays be formed?
Another?
In the other one where there was a perforated anode to form a
if you take perforated cathode
rays.
Behind of cathode, we can observe positive rays. If you take perforated anode behind of this, we can observe cathode rays. Yes, possible.
Oh, so in both experiments, you will get both rays.
Yeah, one experiment only gives the both rays, so you can observe that.
Okay.
Sir, can you repeat the last sentence of origin of anode rays after cathode? High-speed electrons of the
high-speed electrons of the cathode rays on them.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Bombardment of high-speed electrons of the cathode rays on them. Continuation. Thus, anode rays are not emitted from that are produced in the space between the anode and the cathode. Okay, that is produced from gaseous atom.
Sir, so the canal rays consists of protons as well as neutrons.
Yeah, just on gaseous atom lost 1 or 2 electrons only. So it contains 4 electrons, proton, neutron, everything is contained, but it behaves like a positive particle because of charge, positive charge.
Okay.
But if you take hydrogen gas, only proton is present. Okay, 4 points are left about anode rays. Tomorrow class I will give you. Completed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
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 So, I
Ah.
have a doubt, sir.
Tell me.
What cathode ray and anode ray exactly made up of?
Anode rays exactly made up of a positive particles which are produced from gaseous molecules. Not from, we don't call it as a proton. Huh?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.